This is Dr. Ginsberg and her assistant Stephanie, and they have a message for you.
Hi.
His name's Mark.
Hi, Mark. Okay, I'm going to try to give you a little bit of this in a nutshell. Basically, the best way I can describe it is that Anna has a GI system or a gut that is not doing well with the modern day society food. Okay, so she has a dysregulation of, I would say, her gut bacteria, which is developed over time and getting worse and worse and worse. And now her intestines can't absorb, they're so inflamed, basically, they can't absorb the appropriate vitamins that she needs to run her system. And on top of that, I think that her guts have been beat up so much by what society's food is, meaning you got to change your diet completely, that she can't make cholesterol. Her cholesterol is abnormally low. You don't hear that too often. You think of people not feeling good and struggling with weight issues that their cholesterol is too high. Her cholesterol is too low. But what's fascinating is if her cholesterol is low at 156, her good cholesterol particles are also low. That's a weird combo that we actually see a lot in people that are in a kind of stressed out, inflamed state. You would expect somebody to have bad, good cholesterol, or their HDL particles would be low if their cholesterol was elevated. Again, she's got a cholesterol of 156. Ideal is 160 to 180. So I think she's not digesting her food well. We call that a dysbiosis of her gut. I don't think you have a leaky gut. I don't think you actually have an autoimmune dysregulation. I think that's getting into your system that's causing problems. I think she has a leaky gut. I mean, a dysbiosis in her gut, which means her bacteria are a problem that can't absorb the vitamins and minerals that she needs. If you look, when you look at her SpectraCell when she comes home, her minerals are low, her B5 is low, her D is low, her tissue D is low, but her blood D is elevated. And again, with her good cholesterol particles low, I think that her liver is sort of unable to process and detoxify. And I think on top of this, without the good cholesterol and without the nutrients, I think she can't make her brain cells. She just can't recharge her brain. She can't make her neurotransmitters, which is why she can't think. I think with that being low and the gut being upside down, I think that's what affected your thyroid. And I think that's why you may get jittery on meds. And I need to look, I'm going to redraw her thyroid levels today because her numbers don't make sense with what the chiropractor did. So I'd like to see where her numbers are. But her thyroid is either beat up by day in, day out problems with their gut, or sometimes your brain will shut your thyroid down when you can't function because it wants to throw you into hibernation because it just can't run. There's two problems that I see here. Number one, your mitochondria makes your ATP. All right, that's what makes energy. ATP gets broken down into ADP, and you get an energy burst. You do that in something called your electron transport chain in your mitochondria, and you need minerals to do it. So your minerals are so significantly low that you just can't make, that's over here. You spin a little bit here, but you can't make ATP. Your brain is 2% of your body weight and 20% of your ATP. So I think you've got a combo, you've got everything coming at it. What happens is there's not enough cholesterol to repair it. I don't think you have enough ATP for higher thinking at this point. So what happens is that that's where your frustration, all this stuff's jumbled around. You're trying to grab thoughts and get your limbic system and stuff to work, and it can't. On top of that, you're not going to make hormones healthy. You don't need hormones replaced, but you're not going to make hormones. You don't have enough cholesterol and you don't have enough B5 to make anything. You're almost lucky you're making cortisol.
A big fat machine.
Well, your body's in a stressed out state, and all it understands, you've got low tissue D, which says it's time to hibernate. It's pre-winter, it's time to hibernate. So you're low in nutrients, so your body, that indicates that food is scarce. If food is scarce, if I was your body, I'd shut it down. And I think you have that problem on top of the fact that you you have a gut, again, a dysbiosis. The bugs in your gut are so beat up and in trouble that they can't absorb your nutrients and turn them into cholesterol. You can't make cholesterol. So you imagine this little molecule needs to be made in your gut, or pulled it from your gut, made in your liver, and transported up to your head to function, and none of that's happening. So when your body gets shut down a little bit and then you take it to the gym to CrossFit it makes it even worse. So I think it's your system is just completely shut down. And I think that your brain function is what you're feeling. And I think you're running on so much sugar that you go up and down. And you get, it's not that you're mean or irritable, it's that you get such a fatigue that you snap.
Yeah.
That's where it's coming from. It's not the, oh, I'm a PMS, cranky, whatever. What happens is you're just irregular. There's times when maybe you don't have to work as hard, function as well. You get a decent night's sleep, and everything maybe is reasonable, and you'll go a day or two where you'll feel okay. But then what happens is when everything starts to get thrown at you, your brain can't separate it out, your fatigue is there, your inhibitory neurotransmitters are gone, and you snap.
Amen.
That's where it is.
I'm just gonna leave it recording.
Okay, so that's okay. So what I think we need to do, you can let it keep going. So what I think we need to do is, what are you doing progesterone now?
I'm doing those 2 troches at night, and when I do that, I was telling Stephanie, I sleep. When I don't, if I forget, I wake up.
Okay, so I think we stay on that. It's not gonna hurt you.
Okay.
And the dose that you're taking.
250 milligram troches.
So she's on 100 milligrams. Are you almost out of those?
No.
She has a
She's still love them.
Sam's
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So that's fine. Then stay on that, because that's ideally progesterone by mouth. And what I would probably do, can you chew them, or do you have to suck on them?
They're just so strong. I mean, I've never really tried to chew them. I could try.
Because the idea is to get it down and hit the GABA receptors of your head by mouth.
And because I just swallow it?
Yeah, but don't choke.
Okay.
But in other words, the bottom line is you want it when it goes through your system, that's how it goes to the GABA receptors. So I've got no problem with that. And tell me, are you taking that 11 to 27, or are you taking it 1 to 27?
What is that? I'm sorry.
The
Days of your cycle.
The days of your cycle.
Oh, every day.
Okay.
No distinction.
And you're still bleeding once a month, though?
Yes.
I would like some kind of system. So I would prefer you to do the 50 milligrams for me, 1 to 10. And you can do the 2 or the 100 milligrams, 11 to 27.
Okay.
Because you need to have some kind of mimic of your cycle.
Sure.
So you really need a break. I'd like you to stop at the end of on day 27, flow, call it day 1, and go back here.
Cool.
You should not have a massive sleep issue without it.
Okay.
What's happened when we fix the other? The reason you're having a sleep issue is you're getting such a large surge in this cortisol.
Yeah.
So the cortisol's getting you up. And this is like the actors. Cocaine brings them up and then Ambien brings them down. That's a little bit of what's going on here, I think.
Okay.
And I think your flashes are by this cortisol hit. So in the middle of the night, the cortisol snaps back up again, right? You want the curve to be nice and smooth.
Right.
From what this maps out like, this guy's up here, so you're probably doing this.
Got it.
So as this is pulling back up, and especially we know you're using blood sugar because the chromium's low, the sugar's bouncing back up, the insulin's dropping it back down, you wind up probably getting a little hypoglycemic, you're getting this in the middle of the night, and that's where you're flashing from.
Got
The
it.
flashes are not estrogen problems. Your estrogen's good. When you go to your estradiol, when you're in your luteal phase, see? You're fine. Mm-hmm. Now, why do I think this is running a little bit low? You're lowish. My suspicion, because everything else is so inflamed. That's number 1. And number 2, you don't have enough cortisol to make it. I mean, you don't have enough, cholesterol to make it. And you don't have enough B5 to make it.
Okay.
I mean, you can't make your pathway. When you go to your pathway, like what Stephanie said, you just can't make them. And when your body's got to make a decision, it's choosing to keep you alive. So it's going here, which is illustrated by what's on here.
Okay.
Now, I drew these because if someone's got a real dysregulated blood sugar where they've got a mess with energy metabolism, these binding globulins will be less than 35. That's not your picture. You're not that pre-diabetic blood sugary problem. That's not where you are. Your testosterone is balanced. You're fine with this, okay? What I do, because people that have this number, this will run like 35 and this will run through the roof.
Okay.
That's that PCOS kind of, you don't have any of that.
Okay.
That's not you. I think you're a pure gut problem. You're a blown up gut problem. And I think that the reason this isn't worse is because you're lucky and you're young. In other words, I think, and if you look here, you need zinc, selenium, iron, and vitamin D in order to get the thyroid molecule into the cell. So I think your whole picture is just a dysregulated picture.
Okay.
So I would do the progesterone like I told you, so it keeps you sleeping.
Okay.
You got to totally turn your diet upside down. Yeah, I mean, you really have to.
I'm game.
And I think that if you eat food, number one, I think you're going to have a little bit of a trouble with that in the beginning because I think you're probably such a sugar burner. I think you're going to be hungry a lot.
Okay.
So I don't want to make you crazy with feeding some of those cravings. Try to feed them with dark chocolate. In other words, you got to get away from getting up and having Eggos for breakfast. Waffles. That's never going to work, okay? That doesn't mean in the middle of the day, if you don't feel down or you have dinner and you have a good dinner and you need a little sugar fix, and I do that. Sometimes I'll eat a really good dinner and I'll have a piece of fruit and I still got a little bit of a headache and I know I've had a long day, I need the sugar, and I'll have a couple pieces of dark chocolate.
Okay.
So I'm okay with your sugar fix that way. Get away from it the other way. I think you're burning enough sugar you're probably enough of a sugar burner now, and you're low enough in what's going on here that if you try to just do this, I don't think your body will be able to handle it.
Okay.
So
Would you give her back carnitine at this time? She's borderline in it. No.
I give her the mineral complex. I give her B5
And B12.
and B12, and I think I might give her a liver detox.
Okay.
I think she'll drop weight on that because to me that's the problem. Why would she have a D of 102 and bad tissue D? Classic. The way the liver detoxes is you have to take fat soluble like oil and you have to get it into pee. It's got to blend together. So remember basic chemistry, right? What's water? H2O. It's polarized. It's not round. It's linear. So you have to take this fat-soluble estrogen, progesterone, vitamin D, those vitamins, and you have to polarize them to get rid of them. Number one, I think your liver's already struggling a little bit with that because it's kind of dealing with the inflammation of the cruddy diet that you haven't been able to handle. And when I say cruddy diet, you have to look at it as what you're able to handle. One of the anti-aging ladies who does a lot of study on cortisol docs answered a question in one of our modules, and somebody said, if you're going to replace probiotics in somebody, would you give somebody from Thailand the same probiotics as you would from Arkansas? It's a very good question, okay?
Because the diets and cultures are so different.
Bingo. And what it came from is very different.
Yes.
So that's how you have to look at it. What you came from is closer to that paleo, unable to detox, can't handle the real world as well. As opposed to, say, maybe my family or somebody else's family that's mutated more to handle it. So you and I could both have grown up in the same house, eat the same diet, not related, but just next to each other, and I handle it, you can't. There's also so much crossing over. They've done studies where they've looked at the DNA of twins, and then they looked at the DNA of the twins when they're 25, and their DNA is exact here and it's different here.
Cool. Wow.
So there's so many changes of toxins and SNPs and all that goes in.
Sure. So
what's happened is as you've gone through life, you can't detox as well. And that's what's illustrated by those bad HDL particles and the low cholesterol. So slowly but surely your system has gotten backed up. So that's why one of the things that the liver detox does is it's got a big B hit. It's got methylated B12, methylated folate, a bunch of B vitamins, and it's got a bunch of antioxidants. So you go from vitamin D, estrogen, fat soluble. You polarize the molecule. The mitochondria will do that, and you polarize it, and that generates a bunch of free radicals. Okay? That's why your Spectrox is a little low. Body's working on that.
Okay.
Then you put what's called a CH3 or methyl group on, and that makes it happy in water, and you can get rid of it.
And I get rid of those free radicals because aren't free radicals bad?
Correct. But everybody has free radicals that we have to get rid of. It's getting rid of them. And you need antioxidants to do that.
Yes.
You also need the liver able to handle it and do it.
Sure.
So what I'm looking at is somebody with your tissue D that's low and a floating blood D of 102 says to me that the absorption is not getting into your tissues. You're taking it and somehow it's getting into your blood. It's just not getting into the tissue level. But now as your blood says it's too much, your body can't get rid of it as well. Because you would think if your blood was 102, your tissues would go and suck it back up. Well, they're not. So the receptors aren't responding.
So that transmission is broken.
And your body can't get rid of it. So that was only my only other thing. In other words, to really give your body, since you're kind of low here in your B12, is to give your body just sort of a kick back in. and to get back on the right road. In other words, give it, and the plant sterols, the stuff that comes along with the detox, will go ahead and just clean everything out. In other words, not that you'll have poop or diarrhea or anything, but what it does is it enables the liver, it's going to pollinate the liver with what it needs and help you clean everything out. So I'm borderline. I think for you who really are struggling with weight and diet stuff, one of the good things about it is it's got a shake. You do 2 shakes a day, but you can eat all the paleo food you want with the shakes. The shakes are just replenishing.
Sure.
And it may just balance you up. Like I did with my dad, who lost 12 pounds in 2 weeks.
I've got my 20-year high school reunion coming up. That would be amazing.
But you understand what I'm saying? It's not, and we didn't use it as weight loss.
Yeah.
What it was
just needed to recalibrate.
That's where he was. And you could see it. He was kind of swollen. He had a little canker sore. In other words, what I'm saying is that's some of where I think you are. And I've got a bunch of patients like you that it's sort of walking out the door is tough for them. But if you walk out with this and you go, okay, I'm drinking this shake in the morning. Now after that, you can have whatever you want as long as it's a real food. A lot of times people drink the shake and say, I'm fine. Or they'll drink it and they'll have a hard-boiled egg. In other words, what it's doing is it's a combo for you of, and I think it's going to give you a schedule.
Cool.
In other words, you'll be able to say, oh, you'll go with it. You'll go, well, I got to eat what's on here. It may help you transition. And then it's got shake mixes or stuff that you can do to make smoothies or what you can eat. You can have fruit and all that you want, but it's just going to force you to eat a little cleaner. And then your sugar hooked may stabilize a little bit. And by the time you get off of it, now you'll already be down the right pathway. Then you can add your mineral complex back. And then you'll go on your B5. And that should help your system. And you stay on your progesterone at night, I think you'll feel better. I really do. The only other thing you've got to do is take your probiotic. That 156 is very significant.
Okay.
But I've seen it come up. We had a lady the other day had a cholesterol of 83.
Whoa.
So I think that if you follow that, I think the liver will be happy. The HDL will come down. Or come up, I should say. The cholesterol will come up a little bit. I think you'll get better. I think you'll feel better. And I would like to look at this. I'm not convinced you're not a sick euthyroid.
Euthyroid?
Yeah, you meaning your thyroid's okay, but your body's so inflamed out of whack that
It's stressing it.
Well, your picture doesn't make sense. You don't make sense having this look like this with palpitations. What would make sense would be if your T4 was over here, off the charts,
And I was
up.
hyper.
Why would you have this look like this and have palpitations? I mean, this was on that dose.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Can I ask you maybe a related, but just a question I can't forget? I'm hot all the time. I'm so hot. Mark says like I could produce heat for like a small city. I mean, like I can't. I should take my temperature like just to the touch, like, and I get real sweaty all the time. I mean, it's that to me.
It's all blood sugar.
It is.
That's not hormonal. That's all blood sugar.
So
absolutely.
Okay.
That's
so
absolutely.
that should remedy or
It'll all get better. Oh yeah. Because again, I think what it is that you have to be able to function. I want you to understand you have to be able to absorb your minerals, make long chain fatty acids, and use fats, carbs, and proteins, the minerals from that to function.
Right.
You have to be able to, like, you can't break down fat. You can't break it down and use it. Number one, carnitine's part of the problem. You need B2, B3, and carnitine. Now, wouldn't it be nice, drink carnitine and all of a sudden you'll get skinny? Yeah, it don't work. Okay, I know that's what you're thinking. It don't work. They've tried it. So, but the issue is like anything else. I don't want to add, you can get carnitine from red meat.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but the point is that I just think that you can't use it because I think your body is such a sugar burner. And so what happens is you're doing this. That's where the heat's coming from. Sugar's up, I need it. Insulin goes up, drop it back down again. Your body wants to stay smooth this way.
Right.
So I'm telling you, remember, the sympathetic nervous system, that's the adrenaline fight or flight. I think that's running rampant in you. Part of that, what could happen is that your neurotransmitters are off, like I said, so you're emotionally up and down.
My energy med doctor, I go to get, he uses essential oils and I do massages through him. He said I have adrenal fatigue.
Okay, adrenal fatigue is a centrally modulated disease. There is no such thing as your adrenal glands not working.
Oh, okay.
And most people misinterpret that. And the real smart lady named Lena Edwards, she's the adrenal queen.
Okay.
And basically what you have is a shutdown of your hormones from the fact that cortisol will shut down your head. And I could pull out 30 graphs that could show you that.
Okay.
But basically what it is that cortisol is up, which it is. You can't have adrenal fatigue with a morning cortisol of 4.6. You know what I mean? And I would buy this central mediation that you're dropped down. If this was flat, if this was 1 and this was 0.2 where it is, then that would say to me that your cortisol curve was here. Your cortisol curve looks like this.
Right.
So even without the B5 and the cholesterol, you're preferentially shunting in that direction. The little bit that you have is sending it there, as illustrated by this.
Okay.
The reason your fatigue is there is, number one, I don't know what's going on here with this thyroid. I can't wait to see my numbers. Whether you actually need thyroid, it's blown up, not blown up. I need to see anybody's. I need to see where you are. But the term adrenal fatigue is coined by a guy named Jim Wilson. But all the studies, the real new state-of-the-art last few years studies, will tell you that a fatigued person is from a 24/7 cortisol exposure, and corticotrophin releasing factor will circle back to the brain and shut down all your neurotransmitters. And so your dopamine, which makes you happy, shuts down.
Yes, that explains, because I'm
shuts it
low
all
on
down.
serotonin.
Well, you're low in serotonin. I can tell you how that works. So cortisol and stress will turn serotonin, or turn actually tryptophan, into something called kyuranine, and you will
Okay.
pee it out. So your serotonin gets low. Okay? So then you carb crave to get the tryptophan back to replace the serotonin. That dysregulates your blood sugar, which jacks with your cortisol even more. And then the blood sugar dysregulation up and down creates the tryptophan to go back, and it's a vicious cycle. That's why your serotonin's
So
low.
maybe I don't have depression.
What is depression? All it is a balance of your neurotransmitter. It's your neurotransmitters, your inhibitory neurotransmitters are up and your dopamine is down. You're not happy because you don't have dopamine. You got no motivation. It's not depression. It's no motivation. It's blah. And that's what you needed prior to hibernation. So your body is meant to do that when it's in a stressed out state, because you got to hibernate for the winter.
Well,
So it's all a central mechanism. It's how the
It's all
neurotransmitters, it's how the neurotransmitters affect your brain.
well, so this is so interesting because, we've been married 7.5 years, and our first year of marriage, I had to take 6 months off of work because I was severely clinically depressed, almost committed suicide.
You
so
have no dopamine.
I wonder, yeah.
Absolutely. Can you get my book?
Absolutely.
And I'll show her that, and then you can show her the detox. I'll show you. It's on front. It's in the front. Stephanie, I'm sorry. It's on it's on the nurse's station. I'll show you a couple pictures that explain it. That's where it was. Your gut was already a little bit of a mess by then. So number one, you can't make ATP, and number two, what happened is that low cholesterol. Remember, that creates a stressed out state in your body, and that if you don't get relief from that cortisol keeps spinning. And when it keeps spinning, what it's going to do, the one with the head.
Head, sorry, I went brain.
No, you're fine. It's this one right here. Here. So look, so you've got these chronic stressors coming in. When cortisol comes in, see, it hits the hippocampus. It's all working centrally. So your cortisol will come in that way. And then what happens is here, look, boom, it comes in. And then it actually directly acts on macrophages, cytokines to create inflammation. Then the sympathetic nervous system goes, and the parasympathetic gets shut down, and the cytokines go up, and look what they do. They shut down norepinephrine, they shut down 5-HTP, and they shut down dopamine. And so there's no neurotransmitters in your brain to make you happy. See, it's a negative. See, this is the corticotropin releasing factor. So dopamine is motivation. I can, I go, I do. Acetylcholine is I know. Serotonin is kind of calm sleep, and GABA is relaxation. So basically what's happened is that this is what's dysregulated in you. See, look, pain, depression, and fatigue. That's your HPA axis dysfunction.
I could cry right now.
So, but bad news is you got to fix yourself.
Okay, I've been doing that for a long
But you
time.
understand, it's not shoving progesterone down, and I'm not telling you how to stop it, but all that's happened is so if you've got GABA, no ability to make GABA, or your neurotransmitters are all shut down, what happens with progesterone? It sits on the GABA receptors. That's what's giving you inhibitory neurotransmitters. That's why it makes you feel better. Because it's replacing it. That's why when women get older, we give them progesterone. The women that have PMS, we give it to them. Typically, if they would fix their system, they wouldn't have PMS. So what happened with you is you've just been dysregulated for so long that right now when you take the progesterone, you sleep because it's something else sitting on that same receptor.
Okay.
So this is a real you. The thought process, which is what Stephanie's pulled, is just how your brain thinks. So basically what happens is that this is your brain function. It needs to spin, right? The reaction time. And this just has to do with reaction time and aging. But the most significant part of it is that this talks about brain voltage, but you need these hormones. But more important than that, this is important for you. Dopamine, serotonin, acetylcholine, and GABA. See, this is hormone stuff, but this is what fills it. See, tryptophan, let's just say folate, choline, fish oil. So in other words, you just don't have enough to make these hormones. But the biggest thing, I mean, the neurotransmitters, the biggest problem is you don't have cholesterol to make any of it.
Got it.
So that's why I think the detox will help you because it'll start you on the way.
Is it like $500?
No, it's like $120.
Okay, I can do
$150.
that.
Yeah, that's all I would do. No, it's inexpensive.
Okay.
And it actually tastes pretty good. My husband and I both did it together.
Did you lose weight? Not that you need to.
No, but like stuff cleared up. Today's a bad example, but like
My
I'm
dad did.
estrogen dominant. I have like higher estrogen and higher testosterone than anything else. Terrible cycle type stuff. Just a backlogged liver of years of hormones that it cleared that, and I feel
That's
better.
what my dad lost. You did well. What I would do is, and I'll give you extra visits here because I'd like to see you back. What I would do is I would send her home, and I'd like to see her back in a month. I'd do the 2-week detox. And just a couple of basic stuff. I want to start on a bunch of pills and massive diet change. You know, whatever we can minimize that she's got to put in her
Yeah, that's what I was. So the complete mineral we don't have right now, but I'm gonna switch her to the mitochondrial energy. That's gonna get the B12 as well as those minerals, the B5,
Perfect.
and then the chromium. And I think that's a good blend.
And your
That's all she
omega-3
needs.
and no more D.
So keep on the progesterone troches.
Because you need it temporarily.
Okay.
So what I'd like you to do is do the 2-week detox, stay on the progesterone. As soon as you come off the 2-week, I want you to go on this, and I want to see you back in a month.
And I stay on my antidepressant just to keep things stable.
You'll know when it's time to come off.
Okay.
I had to pay
Every time I go off because I feel good, I crash.
You don't have any B5. That's why. You can't make serotonin. Once we fix this and you can make serotonin, then we can wean you off. But yes, stay on it for now.
Okay.
You need to feel better. First of all, the first thing that needs to happen is you need to walk in here and say, I'm ready to get off it. And what I'm going to do is probably do a wean. So right now, if we draw her thyroid functions, I can see what she looks like. That's going to help. And then what I will probably do here is switch over to Wellbutrin. I'll wean you down. You'll do 20 of Prozac, 150 of Wellbutrin, and I'll titrate you down, get you on Wellbutrin, and then pull you off it. But you got to get your B5 up, and you don't have cholesterol.
Right.
I mean, you have no brain function. Basically, it's very simple. You need cholesterol to fix your head. I was talking to one of the MF, the maternal fetal people. She's a vegan, and she's telling me how healthy she is. She told me her cholesterol was 109. I'm like, man, you ain't cutting me open.
Yeah, yeah.
109. I said, you're sick. It was exactly it. She goes, well, and we do this knives and forks, and I'm like, yeah.
Forks over knives.
Yeah, well, stick a spoon at, you're done. I mean, I'm like, you're not operating on me. How are you writing a paper?
Yeah.
So you need to come in and feel better. When you come in and go, I feel better, my brain feels better, I'm thinking better, that's when I know I can wean down a little bit of that. I can start to wean down the Prozac.
Okay.
Stay on it.
Do you want me to tell you what I told Leia?
Yeah.
Okay. I told her I had a brain crush on you.
I guess that's a compliment.
It is.
It's a compliment.
So you should
it's-
get the picture of her in front of all the paperwork.
I want to.
She took a picture of me in front of all the paperwork.
I'm recruiting for you. I love business, and I'm gonna run a small business one day. And hold on.